Hello, and welcome to Sober Without God. This series is designed to help you fall asleep while listening to stories about the scientists, non believers, and others who have made an impact on our world. If you're like me and have trouble going to sleep or staying asleep, videos like this may help you relax while also learning. It is my hope that hearing these stories in a calm and peaceful way will help guide you again. Please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe, and also leave a comment letting me know where it is you're listening from. It's a big help to the channel and will encourage me to make more like this. My goal is to be able to make these videos ad-free as the channel continues to grow. These videos are here to pay homage to some of the greatest thinkers of our time while helping you relax and meditate or fall asleep. So now, let's settle in to a comfortable position and get ready for some peaceful rest. Hello, and welcome. Tonight, we begin a journey through the life of Matt Dillahunty, a man who has become one of the most recognizable voices in modern atheism and skepticism. Over the coming chapters, we'll explore his childhood immersed in deep faith, his journey through doubt and discovery, his powerful presence as a public debater, and his enduring impact on the conversation between belief and reason. As you settle in, find a comfortable position. Take a slow, deep breath in and hold it, and gently let it out. This is a story about transformation, about courage, and about a man who has made it his mission to challenge the way we think about faith. Matt Dillahunty was born on March 31st, 1969, in Kansas City, Missouri, and was raised in a devoutly Southern Baptist household. From a young age, religion wasn't just a part of Matt's life, it was the center of it. He attended church regularly, participated in Bible study, and even considered becoming a preacher. I was all in, Matt once said, reflecting on his youth. I wasn't just a Christian because I grew up in it. I wanted to live it. I wanted to serve. His teenage and young adult years were filled with a sense of purpose, rooted in faith. He believed he was on a mission, that God had a plan for him. In his 20s, Matt pursued a career in the tech industry, working in software. But even as he built his professional life, his heart pulled him toward ministry. In one interview, he explained, "I thought I was being called to preach. I wanted to help people find truth in Christ. I wanted to dedicate my life to that." Matt even began preparing to enter seminary. Imagine that for a moment. A younger Matt Dillahunty, deeply committed, Bible in hand, dreaming of a life spent sharing the Word. Take a deep breath. Hold. Now let it out. Picture him then, confident in his beliefs, certain of his path, walking toward a future that seemed unshakable. But that path would soon take an unexpected turn. It started, as it often does, with questions. As Matt studied more deeply, immersing himself in theology, apologetics, and the Bible itself, he began to encounter problems, inconsistencies, contradictions. And when he sought answers, they didn't satisfy him. He recalled, "I found that the answers I got were either circular, inadequate, or just plain dishonest." And that bothered me because I cared about the truth. The more he looked, the more the foundations of his faith began to crack. Over time, those cracks widened. Matt describes this period as both painful and liberating. It wasn't something I wanted. It felt like my whole world was falling apart. But I had to be honest with myself. Honesty, even when it cost him everything he thought he knew. Imagine that moment. A man who once dreamed of preaching the gospel, now standing at the edge of doubt, staring into uncertainty. It's a place many fear to go, but Matt went there willingly because he wanted the truth more than he wanted comfort. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is to question the things you've always been told to never doubt. When Matt Dillahunty walked away from Christianity, it wasn't with bitterness. It was with a quiet, painful honesty. Matt explained, I didn't stop believing because I was angry at God. I stopped because I realized I no longer had good reasons to believe. And if truth is what I wanted, I couldn't stay. The shift wasn't instant. For months, Matt wrestled with his identity. He had lost his faith, and with it, a community, a sense of purpose, and the worldview that had guided his entire life. But in time, he realized he wasn't alone. He discovered the atheist community, a network of thinkers, skeptics, and former believers who had walked similar paths. It was a lifeline, Matt said. I found people who weren't afraid of questions, who weren't afraid of doubt, and they weren't bad people like I'd been told. They were thoughtful, compassionate, and honest. In 2005, Matt stumbled upon a local cable access show in Austin, Texas, the Atheist Experience. At first, he was just a caller, then a volunteer, then a co-host, and eventually one of its most prominent voices. The show became Matt's platform, a place where he could engage directly with believers, skeptics, and anyone willing to have a conversation about faith. Picture it, Matt at the table, headphones on, Bible in hand, a calm but confident presence, ready to take calls from anyone, anywhere. No sermon, no shouting, just dialogue. It wasn't long before Matt began debating in churches, on college campuses, and at conferences. He quickly became known for his clarity, composure, and razor-sharp reasoning. Debate isn't about winning, Matt often said. It's about exposing bad ideas and giving people permission to think differently. In one of his most quoted lines, he stated, "I want to believe as many true things and as few things as possible." That's it. That's my goal. Simple, direct, powerful. Unlike some debaters who relish aggression, Matt brought a different energy. He was measured, patient, even gentle, until it was time to press for answers. To a preacher insisting that morality comes only from God, he replied, "If you need a divine command to be good, you're not moral, you're obedient. And there's a big difference." To a caller claiming atheists secretly believe in God, he said, "I can't pretend to believe something I don't, and you can't pretend to know my mind better than I do." These exchanges became iconic. Through the show and his debates, Matt carved out a space for civil but unflinching dialogue. He didn't mock his opponents, he challenged them. And in doing so, he earned the respect of friends and critics alike. "People tell me I'm harsh," Matt said with a small smile. "But if your beliefs can't withstand questions, maybe they need to change." Take a deep breath. Imagine Matt sitting at that table, fielding calls from strangers, each one a chance to bring a little more light into the conversation. Sometimes the loudest act of courage is simply asking hard questions out loud. By the late 2000s, Matt Dillahunty had become one of the most recognizable atheist voices in America. Not because he shouted the loudest, but because of the way he engaged. Clear, calm, and devastatingly effective. Matt approached debate like a craftsman. It's not about humiliating people, he explained. It's about exposing bad ideas and letting better ones arise. And that approach worked. Whether across from theologians in church halls or apologists in formal debates, Matt had a way of cutting through rhetoric and getting to the core. One of his most talked about debates was with Ray Comfort. The way of the master Christian evangelist, famous for his banana argument. When Ray claimed that atheists secretly know God is real, Matt responded, "Ray, you don't get to tell me what I know. That's not how conversations work. You can tell me what you believe, but you don't get to speak for me." In another debate, a preacher insisted that without God, morality is impossible. Matt replied, "If your morality depends on the threat of hell or the promise of heaven, then it's not morality. It's a bribe and a threat. True morality is caring about people because it's the right thing to do." Some of Matt's sharpest lines came not from formal debates, but from his years on the Atheist Experience. To a caller arguing that atheists can't have purpose, he said, "I don't need a cosmic dictator to tell me my life has meaning. I give it meaning by how I live it." To a young doubter worried about questioning faith, he said, "You're not betraying God by asking honest with yourself. And honesty is never a betrayal." To someone declaring that atheists hate God, he said, "I can't hate something I don't believe exists. Do you hate Zeus, Thor, Ra? That's how I feel about your God." These moments, often unscripted and raw, became a lifeline for countless viewers struggling with doubt. Picture Matt in the studio, a simple desk, a headset, a cup of coffee. Across the line, strangers pour out their beliefs, their fears, their challenges. And Matt, steady, clear, meets them where they are. It wasn't just what Matt said, it was how he said it. Calm, firm, but rarely cruel. As he put it, you can be direct without being a jerk. But sometimes, when people are defending harmful ideas, you have to be blunt. And blunt he could be. When told that atheists deserve hell, Matt said, if your God is real and sends people to hell for using the minds he supposedly gave them, then he's not a God worthy of worship. That line echoed far beyond the show. Matt's debates weren't about victory laps. They were about creating a space where doubt was allowed. He gave believers a chance to hear their own arguments tested, and gave doubters permission to breathe. Matt often said, I'm not here to take your faith. I'm here to ask, why do you believe? And is it justified? Take a breath. Imagine sitting across from Matt. Not a fight, not a sermon, just a conversation where every question is allowed and every answer is tested. Debate isn't about destroying people. It's about destroying bad ideas. Matt Dillahunty's work didn't end at the debate table or the studio. He became a cornerstone of a growing movement, a network of thinkers, activists, and seekers who believed in building a better world through reason. Take a slow, deep breath in. Hold it for a moment and let it out. Tonight we follow Matt as he steps beyond one-on-one conversations and into the wider world of secular activism. Matt became a fixture at atheist and humanist conferences across the United States and beyond. Whether addressing intimate workshops or packed auditoriums, his approach remained the same: a calm, a passionate call for critical thinking. He often said, "I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm here to encourage you to think deeply, honestly, and without fear." At these events, Matt didn't just debate believers, he built bridges with fellow atheists, skeptics, and humanists, collaborating to make the movement stronger, more inclusive, and more effective. Imagine the scene: a conference ballroom buzzing with energy, attendees clutching notebooks and coffee cups. Then Matt takes the stage. No theatrics, just a voice, steady, measured, inviting people to join him in questioning everything. As Matt's platform grew, so did his focus on humanism, the philosophy that we can live meaningful, ethical lives without gods or the supernatural. In one talk, he said, "I don't need a divine plan to be moral. I care about people. I care about reducing suffering. That's enough." This became a recurring theme in his work, that we are responsible for one another, and that goodness doesn't need divine command, only empathy and reason. Matt also became a mentor to those finding their voices in the atheist movement. He often reminded new activists, don't aim to destroy faith. Aim to build understanding. Show people that they can doubt without fear. Many young debaters and content creators credit Matt with encouraging them to speak up, to share their stories, and to approach conversations with both firmness and compassion. For Matt, these conferences and collaborations weren't just about atheism. They were about building a world where questions are safe to ask. Matt said, doubt isn't the enemy of truth. It's the beginning of it. Take another breath. Picture yourself in one of those audiences, hearing Matt's words for the first time. You feel permission to think, to be honest with yourself. That was the gift he gave so many. You don't need someone else's permission to ask questions. You only need your own courage. Some debates are just events, and some feel like moments in history. For Matt Dillahunty, one of those moments came in 2018 when he sat across from Jordan Peterson, the Canadian psychologist, author, and one of the most polarizing public intellectuals of our time. Take a deep breath. Hold it for a moment and gently let it out. Tonight, we revisit that conversation. Not to rehash every point, but to understand why it mattered and what it revealed about Matt's unique voice in the world of ideas. By the time they met, Jordan Peterson had become a cultural phenomenon. His lectures on meaning, order, and religion had drawn millions of viewers. His defense of religious traditions, even without strict belief, appealed to many who feared a collapse of values. Matt, on the other hand, had spent years challenging religious claims, emphasizing evidence, reason, and the human capacity to create meaning without God. This wasn't just a clash of personalities. It was a collision of worldviews. The debate circled a question that has echoed for centuries. Do we need religion, and specifically belief in God, to have morality and meaning? Peterson argued that religious traditions, regardless of their literal truth, serve as essential containers for meaning and moral guidance. Matt disagreed. He said, "I care about what's true. If a belief isn't true, I don't want it. And I don't need myth to tell me how to live a good life." Picture them on stage. Peterson, professorial, thoughtful, speaking of archetypes and narratives. Matt, grounded, deliberate, pressing for clarity. But is it true? And do we need it to be good? Over the course of their exchange, Matt returned to his central theme. He said, "I want to believe as many true things and as false things as possible. That's my foundation." He challenged Peterson's reliance on religious stories as moral frameworks by saying, "If you can't point to something beyond tradition to justify a moral claim, then you're just saying, we've always done it this way, and that's not enough." He pressed for clarity, often reframing Peterson's abstract points into concrete questions. He said, "If you're saying God is just a metaphor for the good, then what do we need the metaphor for? Why not just pursue the good?" This ability to cut through complexity and expose the heart of an argument has always been Matt's strength. The debate wasn't about winning. It was about showing that religion isn't the only path to morality or meaning. Matt modeled a worldview where honesty and evidence are more important than clinging to comforting narratives. And he did it without hostility. Matt said, "I'm not here to take away anyone's meaning. I'm here to show that you can find meaning without lying to yourself about what's true." Take a moment. Imagine yourself in that audience. hearing Matt calmly say, "You are enough. Your life has value." Not because a God says so, but because you're human and you get to decide what kind of life you'll live. The Dillahunty Peterson debate sparked intense discussion. Some applauded Peterson's defense of tradition. Others celebrated Matt's clear, no-nonsense insistence on evidence and truth. But perhaps more importantly, it opened a door for thousands of people wrestling with these questions. Afterward, Matt said, "If you want religion, fine, but don't pretend it's the only way to be moral. And don't pretend it's true without evidence." For many, those words were liberating. This wasn't just about Matt Dillahunty and Jordan Peterson. It was about a broader cultural conversation. Can we let go of the supernatural and still build a moral, meaningful life? Matt's answer, clear and unwavering, was yes. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. Meaning doesn't have to be inherited. It can be built by you. Tradition may offer comfort, but truth offers freedom. As Matt Dillahunty's voice grew more prominent, so did his philosophy, a way of life that rejected dogma but embraced purpose. Tonight, we explore Matt's vision for a life without God and how he continues that work today. Matt often describes himself as a secular humanist. He says, "I don't need divine commands to know how to live. I care about people. I care about reducing harm. That's my moral framework." For him, ethics are grounded not in scripture, but in empathy and reason. He explains, if your actions reduce suffering and increase well-being, you're on the right track. Matt's morality. No gods required. This perspective runs through his debates, his interviews, and his teaching. That morality is ours to build, and our responsibility to uphold. Imagine for a moment a world where doing good isn't about obeying commands. It's about caring deeply, intentionally for one another. After more than 15 years as one of its most recognizable hosts, Matt stepped away from the Atheist Experience in 2022. It wasn't a decision he took lightly. He said, "That show gave me a platform and a community, but it was time to move on, to grow, and to try something new." Though his departure sparked conversation, Matt framed it simply. Seasons change and voices evolve. Matt's work didn't end when he left the show. Instead, he partnered with YouTuber and activist Jimmy Snow to create The Line, a new platform for engaging with callers and exploring big questions about faith, philosophy, and meaning. The goal hasn't changed, Matt explained. We want to have honest, thoughtful conversations. We want to challenge bad ideas. And we want to give people a place to doubt without fear. On The Line, Matt continues his signature style. Equal parts patience and precision, with a slightly looser, more conversational tone, often joined by a diverse array of co-hosts and guests. Picture him now, not at the old studio desk, but in a new space, talking to people across the world, still doing what he does best, helping others question and helping them find their way. Matt's evolution as a communicator shows something profound. That leaving faith isn't the end of a story. It's the beginning of a new one, where you decide what your life will mean. Matt says, you can live a full, rich, meaningful life without believing in gods. And you can make that life good. That's your job, no one else's. Take another breath. Think of those words. You can make that life good. Meaning isn't handed down from the heavens. It's built here, now, by you. You don't need someone to tell you your life has value. You give it value every day. Here's a collection of quotes from Matt Dillahunty, pulled from his debates, the Atheist Experience, and talks. If you can't justify your beliefs, you shouldn't hold them, no matter how comforting they are. It's not enough for a claim to be possible. I want to know if it's probable, and I want to know why. If your morality depends on a God, you don't have morality. You have obedience. And there's a difference. Goodness isn't about obeying commands. It's about caring for people because they matter, not because you're afraid of punishment. If you need a cosmic dictator to tell you not to kill or steal, you're not moral. You're just trained. If you can't question it, it's not worth believing. You don't get to tell me what I know about God any more than I get to tell you what you know about Santa Claus. You can claim your faith gives you peace, but that doesn't make it true. A comforting lie is still a lie. By now, Matt Dillahunty was more than a debater. He was a teacher, a mentor, a voice that gave countless people permission to ask questions they'd been too afraid to voice. We now look at Matt and how he became not just a lone advocate, but a leader in a growing movement. Matt often reminded people that his mission wasn't to deconvert them. I'm not here to destroy faith, he said. I'm here to destroy bad arguments for faith. This distinction mattered. He understood that people's beliefs are tied to their identities, their families, their sense of safety. He approached them not as enemies, but as fellow humans, worth engaging with dignity. Through conferences, online shows, and private conversations, Matt became a mentor to those finding their way out of religion or into the work of skepticism. Don't aim to be me, he told aspiring activists. Aim to be you, but honest and brave and willing to question everything. For many, those words were transformative. Imagine a quiet corner of a conference room, a young ex-believer sharing their story, and Matt leaning in, listening with that calm, steady presence, saying, "You're not broken, you're brave, and you're allowed to own your journey." Matt's debates, talks, and online work help move atheism beyond mere disbelief. He framed it as a positive, human-centered way of living, grounded in compassion, reason, and shared responsibility. You don't need a God to be good, Matt said. You just need to care, really care about people and the world we share. This simple, direct message resonated far beyond debates. It reached into living rooms, YouTube comments, classrooms, and the quiet moments when someone dared to doubt for the first time. Take a slow breath. Think of the courage it takes to question a belief you were told to never doubt. That courage is yours too. You don't need permission to think. You don't need approval to grow. And you don't need a God to be good. Matt Dillahunty has often said that leaving religion doesn't mean leaving morality behind. If anything, it deepens it. If your morality depends on the threat of hell or the promise of heaven, he said, it's not morality, it's obedience. And those aren't the same thing. Matt's moral framework is grounded in secular humanism. He said, if your actions reduce suffering and increase well-being, you're on the right path. You don't need holy books for that. You just need empathy and reason. For him, morality is about people, not pleasing a deity. It's about owning our choices and their impact on those around us. Picture a world where every choice is made not out of fear of divine punishment, but out of genuine care for the well-being of others. That's the world Matt envisions. Matt also challenges the notion that life without God is meaningless. He said, I don't need a cosmic dictator to tell me my life has value. I give my life value by what I do, how I love, what I create. This is one of his most powerful messages, that you are enough. That meaning isn't found in ancient texts or inherited traditions. It's created by living intentionally, honestly, and compassionately. For Matt, leaving faith behind isn't just about disbelief. It's about taking full responsibility for the world we build. He said, we can't pray problems away. We have to solve them together. That's what makes life meaningful. This is his call to action. That when we let go of superstition, we gain ownership of our future. Your life matters, not because someone told you it does, but because you choose to make it matter. Matt Dillahunty has spent decades at the microphone, in debate halls, and on stages, confronting ideas that others fear to challenge. But his work was never about winning arguments. It was about changing conversations. Matt often said, if you can't question it, it's not worth believing. That simple idea has liberated thousands who once felt trapped in fear. It reminds us that doubt is not betrayal. Doubt is an act of honesty. The first step toward truly owning what we believe. Matt's debates could be sharp, but his foundation was always empathy. You can be wrong, he said, and still be a good person. But if you defend bad ideas, you do harm to yourself and to others. For him, calling out harmful ideas wasn't cruelty. It was care for the people trapped inside them. Matt taught that a life without God is not a void. It's a canvas. He said your life has meaning because you give it meaning. Through how you treat people, what you build, what you love, you decide. This is the heart of secular humanism. That our values are ours to create and our responsibility to live out. Feel the weight of that idea. No one else can live your life for you. No one else can tell you what it must mean. That's your power and responsibility. And so our journey with Matt Dillahunty draws to a close. We followed him from his youth as a devout believer to his days of questioning and doubt, to his years as a public voice for reason, compassion, and truth. Now, as we close the story, we leave the debates behind and turn inward to the quiet lessons his life offers us. Take a deep breath in slowly release. Matt often reminded us that asking questions is not a weakness. So many of us grow up fearing doubt, but Matt reframed it as something beautiful, a sign that we care about the truth, that we care about living honestly. As you relax, let that truth settle. Your questions are not flaws. They are doorways. That taught that meaning doesn't come from the supernatural. It comes from here, from now, from the people we love and the lives we build. Think of one small way you've given your life meaning. Today, this week, this year, let gratitude wash over you. Matt's journey reminds us that when we step away from dogma, we gain something profound: ownership. We are no longer passengers on a path chosen for us. We are the authors of our own story. He often said, "You are enough. You decide who you are. You decide what your life will mean." As you exhale, let that in. You are in control. You are capable. You are enough. Feel your body grow heavier against the bed. Notice the quiet rhythm of your breath. The questions of tomorrow can wait. Right now, there is only this moment. Matt's voice, sharp in debate, always softened when he spoke of people. He cared deeply for those hurt by harmful ideas. That care was at the heart of his work, protecting the vulnerable, challenging the harmful, uplifting the doubters. As you rest, think of how you can bring a little more compassion into your world tomorrow. A kind word, a patient ear, a moment of understanding. Small acts of care that ripple outward. Take one last deep breath. Fill your lungs slowly. And release. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let the muscles in your body sink into rest. You are safe. You are human. you are free to question. And that freedom is enough. Good night.